we'll start at the top of the hour. Just to be safe, let's make sure our mobile phones are silent. 2 minutes to the start. Well, hello, everyone. Greetings from Boeing's offices just outside of Washington, D.C. I'm Bernard Choi from Boeing's communications team. Thank you for tuning in to this special announcement with Ryanair and Boeing. Now, in accordance with state and local guidance and to keep everyone safe, this is a mostly virtual event. We have limited the number of people who are attending in person, and those of us who are here are keeping our distance and wearing our masks as appropriate. For the media joining this event, thank you for tuning in. Please keep your lines muted for now. We will get to the Q&A session later. To join the queue for the Q&A, please email us at media@boeing.com. You could also click the raise hand icon right there on Zoom. With all that, we're ready to get started. And to begin, I'd like to bring up to the stage Issa Munir, Senior Vice President of Commercial Sales and Marketing for the Boeing Company.
Thanks, Bernard. And good morning and good afternoon to everyone watching us in Dublin and Europe right now. And I'd like to welcome you to this event with Ryanair and the Boeing Company. We're very pleased that Ryanair Group Chairman, Mr. Stan McCarthy, and Group CEO, Mr. Michael O'Leary, have joined us here in Washington, D.C. today, here on stage with us to my right. Michael and Stan, great to see you in person here in D.C., midway point between Seattle and Dublin. And also want to welcome other guests this morning, beginning with the Ryanair team joining Stan and Michael. We have in the audience Neil Sorahan, who's the Chief Financial Officer for the Ryanair Group. We also have Chief Pilot Ray Conway, also in the audience in the first row here. And from the Boeing team, we have David Calhoun, the Boeing President and Chief Executive Officer for Boeing, on stage. Also Stan Deal, Boeing Commercial Airplane President and CEO, on stage on the right. We also have in the audience Tim Keaton, who's our Executive Vice President of Government Operations, and we have Ed Dandridge, our Senior Vice President for Communications, in the audience. Thanks again for being here, gentlemen. We look forward to hearing from you in just a few minutes. Our industry is built on partnerships that endure over many decades, and that is very true for the Boeing-Ryanair relationship. Our companies have been partners for more than 25 years now, since Ryanair used its first 737 to launch routes from Dublin, Manchester, Glasgow, Prestwick, and London Gatwick. Ryanair introduced the 737 to its fleet in the mid-1990s, and it was in the late 1990s that they actually placed their first significant order with the Boeing company for 45 737s. Since then, Ryanair has been an all-Boeing operator, and we have delivered more than 530 737s, and that is something real special that has been peppered over the years by a number of game-changing announcements that we've done jointly with them. For example, 125 737s back in 2002 and 2003, 175 more in 2013, and then the game-changer order for 100 airplanes in 2014 that launched the high-capacity 737-8, also known as the 737-8200. Under Michael's stewardship, he and his team have built Ryanair into Europe's largest airline today. They've changed the way people fly, and they lead the way in connecting Europe like no other airline does. 240 destinations, 40 countries that they serve today. Ryanair has been an incredible innovator, a model for our industry in leveraging the 737 ability, fuel efficiency, and providing high-value, low-cost service to families, tourists, and business people alike. They fly more international passengers than any other airline today, and they've passed the 100 million international passenger mark in 2015 while being the #1 on-time airline for Europe and in the world, arguably, with the 737 program. They have been a game changer in the industry as innovators as well. For example, Ryanair.com is the world's most visited airline website today. They have used mobile and other innovations to drive down cost, efficiency, and fares for their passengers. Ryanair is also the lowest cost, lowest fare leader in the industry. They have the lowest cost per seat of any European airline today, and they offer the lowest fare for European industry on the strength of the operation and the low-cost focus that they've had. Ryanair has also innovated with technology, in partnership continuously increasing its ancillary revenue that represents more than 30% of their revenue today. So it's been a tough year for us in our history, but we are very optimistic about the future because of leaders like Michael, Stan, Neil, and Ray. A personal thank you to the Ryanair team for your trust in Boeing and your confidence in the 737 program. And with that, we turn it over to Michael O'Leary for some remarks and for a special announcement. Michael?
Great. You over at the podium, is it?
Just over there.
Or from here?
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to be here in Washington, D.C. today with Dave Calhoun, Stan Deal, the senior team from Boeing. I'm here with Stan McCarthy, the group chairman of Ryanair. It gives us great pleasure to announce today that we're increasing our aircraft order by 75 units. We're going to add to the 135 firm orders we already have for the Boeing 737, the 8200, what we call the game changer. We're going to commit to taking 210 firm aircraft, and we're going to compress that order, so we're going to take them faster over the next 5 years. We're convinced that Dave, Stan, and the team in Seattle will be able to deliver the first of these aircraft early in the spring. We're hoping to get between 25 and 30 of these aircraft in time for the summer 21 flying season in Europe, when we believe the combination of vaccines and these new aircraft will enable us to begin to return to growth in Europe, and that will lead us into a phase of 5 years of very strong growth across Europe. And it's important that we deliver that growth, because Europe has suffered, obviously, as have most other continents, from the COVID-19 virus, and we, together, the Ryanair and Boeing partnership, are going to lead that recovery out. Am I going to take you through quick run through a couple of slides just to give you some background here? I don't know who's moving them. Oh, I have the clicker. Okay, sorry. Okay. So today, as I said, we're ordering 75 new additional aircraft. The value of this order increases by over $7 billion. It takes the total value of the order now to north of $22 billion. So we have a lot of dollars to generate in the next couple of years to keep Dave, Stan, and the Boeing team in this time that they become accustomed. Ryanair is Europe's lowest cost airline group. We have the lowest fares, we have the lowest costs of any airline in Europe, and we can only do that by flying great aircraft like the Boeing 737. Prior to the arrival of COVID last year, we carried 149 million guests in 12 months. We fly to more cities, more destinations than any other airline in Europe. We have the best customer service, a unique combination of lowest fares, #1 on-time performance, great in-flight service. We have a very strong balance sheet. We're BBB rated. And thanks to the support we received from our own shareholders, we raised about $1.25 billion from our shareholders in the bond market in September. And it's that funds that enable us to go out and place this additional order with our partners in Boeing at a time of crisis in the industry. This aircraft order will enable us to grow to 200 million passengers a year across Europe over the next 5 years. And I'm very proud we have Ray Conway here, who leads our safety division. We have an unblemished 35-year safety record, and that is absolutely key to the partnership. Everything we do with Boeing is driven by safety, and everything Boeing do with Ryanair is driven by safety. Just talk briefly about the aircraft. This is the game changer aircraft. We're extending the order from 135 to 210. The delivery starts in spring. Why this aircraft? This aircraft is going to transform Ryanair's future. It's also going to transform short-haul flying in Europe. This aircraft has 4% more seats. We can carry 197 passengers instead of 189 with more leg room and more internal comfort. It burns 16% less fuel per seat. It also has enormous environmental savings, 16% less CO2 emissions and 40% lower noise emissions. So not alone are our passengers going to be traveling at lower fares and in greater comfort, but our neighboring airports and the surround will be a better neighbor for communities across Europe as we grow. The Sky Interior improves the guest experience, and the slimline seats give us even more legroom despite the additional seat. This new order will allow Ryanair to grow to 600 aircraft over the next 5 years, and that means we will have the youngest fleet in Europe and a flexible fleet that we can place across the continent. And it's important that we are taking delivery of new aircraft at a time when Europe needs to recover from the COVID-19 crisis. We've just set out on the slides here how we expect the fleet to build. It'll go from 450 aircraft to about 600 aircraft over the next 5 years. The game changer, the A200 aircraft, will grow from just 6% of the fleet next summer to being 1/3 of the fleet over that 5-year period. And it gives Ryanair a unique opportunity in Europe to offer people more seats at lower prices. That's going to be attractive to our airport partners across Europe, who are going to see Ryanair as the partner with which they can return to growth, which they can recover the traffic they've lost in the last year or two due to COVID. And those lower airport costs, the lower aircraft costs, means we'll be passing on lower fares to our customers, and lower fares to our customers is how we get European tourism moving again, get our young people back to work, because tourism is the industry that creates entry-level jobs for young people. In terms of traffic, as I said, we were carrying 149 million passengers last year. That's been devastated in the last 12 months by COVID. We'll carry something around 35 million passengers in this 12 months. Next year, depending on the rollout of the vaccines, and we hope to see widely available vaccines for the high-risk groups in the first quarter, we think that will allow us to restore our traffic to something between 95 million to maybe 130 million passengers. But then as we move out into the summer of 2022, we'll be adding 80 of these game-changer aircraft. We'll be growing strongly. We'll be returning to growth across most of the European states in which we operate. And we see our traffic rising from 150 million passengers to 200 million passengers over that 4-year period. The one issue is going to come up here today is safety. So let's get it out in front. This is the most scrutinized, most audited aircraft in history. It's also going to be one of the safest aircraft that's ever been delivered. What's not often understood about the Boeing MAX is it's already accomplished over 840,000 flight hours. It's been flying for 22 months, from May 2017 to March 2019. 46 million people have already flown in the MAX aircraft and loved it. It's a great product. It's a great aircraft. Since it was grounded, it's undertaken 1,500 test flights. It's undergone 400,000 engineering hours since March 19. And I want to pay tribute to Steve Dixon and his team in the FAA, Patrick Key and his team in their European equivalents, EASA, and also the regulators in Brazil and Canada. The work they have done together with Boeing in the last 12 months has been heroic. You know, they've completely analyzed, audited, refined and improved not just the safety of this aircraft, but also the regulatory oversight. There's a much greater strengthened multilateral regulatory oversight now of the aircraft and of aviation. EASA, the European Safety Agency, led by Patrick Key, has reviewed all aspects of the aircraft flight control systems. He's published a remarkable document on the 24th of November. We put it up on our website today, and I would encourage you all to read it, because it gives you an indication of just how confident EASA are in the safety and the performance of the 737 aircraft. The flight deck displays and the air alerting systems have all been upgraded. There's mandatory training programs for the pilots, including required simulator training before they fly the aircraft. In Ryanair, we bought and we've already installed 3 737 MAX simulators in our training centres in London and in Dublin, and all of our pilots are going through the MAX simulator, flying on the aircraft before they get on the aircraft. The software, the MCAS, the flight manuals have all been updated, and the operational readiness flight is undertaken before every aircraft, on the aircraft before every aircraft is delivered. I cannot tell you how confident we are in the safety of this aircraft. Will our customers like this aircraft? They're going to love this aircraft. They're going to sit on this aircraft. They're going to be getting on at lower prices than ever before. They're going to love the interiors. They're going to love the performance of the aircraft. And they're going to love the exciting travel opportunities we give them with the Boeing Game Changer. So, in summary, the Game Changer will drive our fleet to 600 aircraft over the next 5 years. It'll allow Ryanair to grow our traffic from 150 million to 200 million guests annually. This new aircraft will offer us lower costs. We'll pass that on in the form of lower fares. And then working with our airport partners across Europe, we intend to accelerate the recovery of traffic, tourism and jobs across the continent of Europe in the next 5 years. This aircraft gives us more seats, a lower fuel saving, and it will help us drive sustained profit because we've got to pay back our shareholders for the money they've invested in us in recent months. And I want to thank Stan. I want to thank Dave Calhoun, the team. The work that Boeing have done in the last 12 months has been extraordinary. You know, not alone have they dealt with the grounding of the MAX, but then you've had the twin knockout of COVID as well. I also want to mention Greg Smith, Boeing's CFO, who's done remarkable or heroic work with Neil Soren and our team on putting this order together. They've done all the hard work on the documentation. We show up for the glory days. But this has been a real partnership between Ryanair and Boeing. This is a great aircraft. We're proud to buy them. We're proud to fly them. And our passengers are going to enjoy flying on these because they're going to transform Ryanair's cost base and transform Ryanair's future for the next 10 years in Europe. So Dave, Stan, and all the Boeing family, thank you. We're proud to be your partners in Europe. It's very important that we're a successful partner in Europe, which is the home of your main competitor, Airbus. But they just don't build aircraft as good as Boeing do.
There we go.
Boeing build a better aircraft, and we're a better airline. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much, Michael. Dave, over to you.
Yeah, I first welcome to everybody. I'll keep my comments brief. Michael's story, Ryanair's story, speaks for itself. It is a winning formula. That formula is the formula that has propelled the growth of our industry. There is no question about it. Lower costs, lower fares introduces air travel to more people. More people do it. It inspires tourism. It inspires everything. And at the end of the day, it is the most important thing for Boeing. So we are proud partners of Ryanair. We always have been. We always will be. My comments are more about a story over the last year. We have had one rough year. Michael visited with me in my first couple of weeks on the job in January. At that time, there was no COVID. There was no discussion of COVID. It was a discussion on safety. And since that moment, every couple of weeks, Stan and Dave, Neil, Michael have been on the phone to talk about the progression of this airplane through the regulatory process and reaffirming our faith in the airplane and our commitment to safety every step of the way, and our willingness to allow the regulators to do anything and everything they want to do to this airplane. Give them the time, be patient, answer every question, dot every I, cross every T, and that is exactly what we've done. And my hat is off to Stan and the Boeing team in BCA, based mostly in Seattle, for the work and the patience that they have applied to this process. We remain proud of the product. We have the utmost faith in this product. And we could not be happier with the statement of support from Michael and the Ryanair team. Somewhere in that middle of the summer, the COVID virus became the most important issue for the industry. Of course, it was holding us all back. Michael and the Boeing team, our discussion and our faith in the future of the industry, and that eventually the COVID virus would pass, or ultimately a vaccine would be introduced. We talked about that every single time we were together. And it is that faith, it is our desire to get to the other side of this and to be ready when it comes and to win in the marketplace that is the reason for this order. It demonstrates the confidence that we both have in the future of our industry, and we do. Make no mistake about it. So I could not be more pleased with this announcement. I appreciate the strong testimony that Ryanair and its fleet of pilots represent and their desire to want to fly this very safe airplane, and the major differentiation that this airplane brings with it. It is higher capacity for Michael. It is, in fact, more efficient. It is a much more emission-friendly aircraft than any before. And ultimately, noise is also plays out beautifully. So anyway, I am a major supporter here. I want to thank you, Michael. Stan, thank you. Ray, Neil, all the hard work you've put in. stand on my team and everybody who has supported him, Isan, in putting this together. This is a story of faith. That's what this is, belief and faith in the future of our industry. So thank you.
Thank you, Dave. And now to commemorate the 75 incremental airplane order, we'll have a sign-in ceremony. And to do that, I'd like to invite Neil Sorahan and Ray Conway to join us on stage so we can witness it.
We ready? Get in your spot. Okay.
Okay.
We're good?
We're good. Very good.
We hand one of these over.
All right, gentlemen, we'll hold for some photographs. You can stay seated, and you can just hold up the certificates as you see fit.
Okay. Great.
Thank you. Very good.
Well done.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Painless.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen.
All we got to do is pay for them now.
Great. Now that we're all in position, we're ready to begin the Q&A session. We do have a number of members of the media who are tuned in to the webcast, and so we'll try to get to as many questions as we can. Before, though, just a few housekeeping items. As mentioned earlier, if you do want to ask a question, please go ahead and email us at media@boeing.com to get into the queue. You can also click the raise hand icon right there on Zoom. All lines are muted, so when you're called upon, please go ahead and unmute yourself. We do ask that you limit those multi-part questions so we can get to as many reporters as we can this morning. With that said, we're ready to begin the Q&A session. And to kick us off, let's see. Let's start with Phil LeBeau with CNBC. Phil.
Thank you. I have one quick question for each of you. Dave, first for you. How confident are you that this is the beginning of what you expect to see with more 737 MAX orders, given the fact that you've had about 450 cancellations year to date on the MAX? And for you, Michael, you famously called out Boeing more than a year ago and said they need to get their you-know-what together when it comes to the MAX. When did everything change in your mind in terms of believing they had gotten it together and you wanted to strengthen the partnership?
Well, let me start. Phil, appreciate the question. As we've discussed on many occasions, I've always had faith that the order books would begin to fill with the return of the industry. This vaccine came along a little faster than I think most people thought, which means that our timeline with respect to recovery is probably a little more aggressive today than it was when we postured almost 9 months ago or 8 months ago that it would take 3 to 5 years. So I am confident that this is the beginning of a fulfillment of a more robust order book, more coming in than going out. But as is always the case, I believe it'll be the strongest of the airlines, those who are most confident and well-positioned for the future, that will lead that change in order outlook. So anyway, I think this is indicative, incredibly pleased that Michael and Ryanair have led this, and yes, I'm confident.
Yeah, and for my part, Phil, thanks for the question. I think it changed, with the new management team came on board. Stan and myself visited with Dave, Stan, and Greg Smith in Chicago back in January, even pre-COVID. And you got a sense there was a new sheriff in town. Dave and the team were determined to get the regulatory issues out of the way. I think that's been critical. I think there was a changed approach to the way they approached the FAA, the EASA, and the other regulators. As I said, I want to pay tribute to Steve Dixon in the FAA, to Patrick Key in EASA. They've done remarkable work on that. It's been complicated all year by the COVID virus and the wreckage that it has wrought on the air travel industry. But, we got to look forward with great confidence. Vaccines are coming in the first quarter of next year. There is going to be a very strong recovery here, and we need more aircraft in Ryanair if we're going to lead that recovery in Europe. And I have absolutely no doubt. We signed the first of these game-changer orders in 2014. I have been waiting for this aircraft now for 5 years. It brings me more seats, it burns less fuel, it has less emissions. Our customers are going to love this aircraft, and it's going to create an environment, I think, where Ryanair will be able to grow strongly in Europe for the next 5 years using these Boeing aircraft. And I couldn't be more excited for the future. I think we're going to see a very strong rebound in Boeing, in Ryanair, in our industry, and especially in Europe.
All right, thank you. Let's see, for our next question on the line, Claire Bushy from the Financial Times. Claire, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you. I wanted to ask to Michael, how much of a discount did you receive on these planes?
Not enough. Very small. I mean, one of the things we've discovered in dealing with Calhoun and Stan Deal is it's tough. What we put into the press release today is correct. We've agreed some modest compensation with Boeing for the losses and costs we've suffered over the last 18 months as a result of the delivery delays. Frankly, we weren't that worried about the quantum of money. It was much more, though, about what we've agreed is a modest discount on the fleet. I am sorry to say it's a very modest discount on the fleet. But, we look to the upside of these aircraft, and that is the economic performance of these aircraft. We already have the lowest unit costs of any airline in Europe, and these aircraft with more seats, less fuel, at 16% less fuel consumption, are going to transform our economics for the next 10 years in Europe. It's going to allow us to lower what are already Europe's lowest airfares. So, my only complaint today is I think the discount should have been bigger. I'm sure Dave thinks the discount should have been smaller, but it's modest.
Yep.
Because I think this is such a great aircraft. Let's look to the future and let's look what this aircraft will do for our customers and for our business, and to get people back to work in Europe.
All right, thank you. For our next question, Eric Johnson of Reuters. Eric, please go ahead.
Eric, off mute.
Eric,
yes, can you hear me?
There you go. We hear you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Quick questions for Boeing and Ryanair. To Boeing, are you concerned that you will have to cut prices for the MAX so much that it will impact the economics of the program as you relaunch the plane? Related to that, will you also pay for the EU tariffs, as Ryanair has said you will? And then for Ryanair's chief pilot, what do you say to your passengers who may still be concerned about the plane safety?
So I'll start. No, I'm not concerned about price discounts as incentives to move airplanes. It will require patience on the part of Boeing, which we have. We control most of that discussion in the sense that it is our airplane that we're moving in the marketplace. The performance of the airplane relative to the airplanes it replaces and or the airlines it replaces, that will speak to the economics of the airplane and ultimately the economics for Boeing. And we're confident in that. The second major factor on that subject is, do you believe in a recovery, and therefore can you stay patient? And the answer from our vantage point is, yes, we believe strongly in a recovery, and then therefore we will stay patient. So we don't feel a need to discount our way into the marketplace. And with respect to tariffs, I read this morning, and I have been apprised of dialogue between the United States and Europe, and I still believe a constructive solution will come about. And so we're going to just stick to that course and allow for both organizations to get to an answer that is good for the aviation industry.
And can I just say before I ask Ray to comment on the safety, just from our point of view too, I think it's important. The discounts we're receiving are not going to alter the economics of this aircraft for Boeing. It's a great aircraft. Boeing are going to, this is, the 737 has been the backbone of Boeing's profitability for many years. Boeing have a backlog of aircraft that are going to get delivered, and they're going to ramp up production. And this is not going to be the first of these announcements. We're already in dialogue with Dave and Stan on the MAX 10. We're not quite there yet on that, but there's more discussions to take place. Like Boeing, everybody in Europe wants to see the end to the tariff wars as well. Whether you're an Airbus customer or a Boeing customer, it's absolutely critical to all of our customers that there are no tariffs applied to aircraft, whether they're made in Europe or they're made in the US. The way we recover tourism from COVID-19 is going to be with low fares and get people moving again, and that needs tariff-free aircraft. And we're hopeful, now that we have an Irish guy in the shortly in the White House. As usual, the Irish will arrive in and we will pour oil on troubled waters. Peace and harmony will reign between the US and Europe, and we'll look forward to taking more and more great Boeing aircraft. Ray.
Have done here. There is no doubt that it is a safe aircraft, but there's one thing saying that, and in order to say that, I think we need the facts, and those facts must be supported by data. And I think we have that data now. All of the safety recommendations made by Boeing have now been implemented. They've been approved by the FAA. In addition to the FAA, the aircraft has also been subject to scrutiny by the Brazilian authorities, by Transport Canada, and from my own point of view, from EASA. And that EASA scrutiny has taken every part of that aircraft, all of the safety critical systems, in addition to the flight control systems. Anything that could potentially impact on the safety of that airplane was subject to a root and branch review. They had over 20 aircraft specialists involved, 15,000 of hours of work went into that. The work extended to the flight control of the aircraft, its manoeuvrability, its stability. They looked at the flight displays, the flight controls, cockpit alerting, and also as well they looked at the human factor as well, how the pilot interacts with system malfunctions that occur on the aircraft. And that was all taken into account into the development of new procedures and to ensure that those procedures can be put in place on the line. And I'm absolutely confident. I have flown this aircraft, I've flown the simulator many times now. I've flown with the latest software. It's the 12.1.2 software in one of our new simulators. And I can say that this aircraft does exactly what it says on the tin. It is an amazing aircraft. For me, one of probably the biggest takeaways for me when I leave the simulator is how close it is to the NG. And we have 21 years experience in the NG. And what it will do for us is we take that experience now and all the safety policies and procedures that have given us our incredible safety record over the last 21 years of NG operation and transfer that directly into the MAX. And of course, it will allow our crews operate between both types without any formality once they've completed the training. So absolutely an incredibly safe airplane. And also, of course, we really look forward to the economic benefits this will bring to the Ryanair low fares model. So a fantastic day for Ryanair. Thank you.
Well,
Great. Thank you, Captain. Our next question comes from the line of Julie Johnson of Bloomberg. Julie, please go ahead.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning, Julie.
Dave, you talked about the hellish year for Boeing, and now that you're almost on the other side of it and the recovery is in process, just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the company that you see emerging from cuts and changes, and how important the MAX is.
I'm very proud of this difficult year because everybody in the Boeing culture lifted their heads, recognized the difficulties that we were in, responded in the most constructive way I can imagine. And there will be silver linings that come as a result of it. We have, in fact, and I'll re-say it many, many, many times, we will never forget the accidents that put us in the place that we were, ever. We have reinstilled, reinvigorated, use any word you like, everything that has anything to do with safety across our company. We all feel it. We understand it. Recommitting to it is part of our culture. And reinventing processes to make sure that something like this never happens again, that's what we've been at. So I am highly confident in all of that. I am also confident that the cuts we've made have been intelligent cuts. There are always silver linings in these kinds of moments where you can take steps to reevaluate the way you do your work, do things faster, better, smarter, take into account changes in the market that are occurring before our eyes. So I think we come out of here leaner, faster, smarter, better, most importantly, safer.
Here, here.
All right. For our next question, we'll go to the Associated Press and Dave Koenig. Dave, please go ahead.
Doing something else.
Dave, you still with us? I think your line's breaking up just a bit. All right, let us circle back to Dave as you clear out your line. For our next question, we'll go to The Guardian and Gwyn Topham. Gwyn, please go ahead.
Gwyn, go ahead. We can't hear you. Let's go to the next one.
All right, let's see. How about, Flight Global, John Hemmerdinger. John, please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. My question is whether or not you think that this order for additional aircraft might be able to allow Boeing to accelerate deliveries next year of the MAX. Last I heard, you had expected to deliver about half those 450 737 MAXs in storage within about 1 year after the certification.
Well, from our viewpoint, it gives us momentum. This order gives us momentum going into the year. We have 27 of Michael's airplanes built. We've got 13 in flow. As Michael said, we're planning to draft behind EASA's work. EASA's in mid-course to approve the airplane. And then in the spring, we hope to begin delivery. You know, right now, you may have seen we've turned the motor on the delivery process. We've pushed into first gear this year. This week we got one aircraft ticketed by the FAA, and you saw that announcement. Since then, we've had several more ticketed, and customers are starting to show up. So I think this, the way I'd characterize it, this order builds momentum going into next year. We'll certainly see some adjustments that we have to continue to work with each customer and match supply to demand as this market recovers.
All right, thanks, Stan. For our next question, we'll go to Ben Matzabal at the Points Guy. Ben, please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Two questions, one for Ryanair, one for Boeing. So the first would be for Ryanair is, I know you're referring to the MAX now as the 737-8200, both in Michael's comments this morning and on the new paint jobs we've seen. Talk a little bit about what that means, about how you are marketing, positioning the jet relative to your customers. And for Boeing, just a real simple question. How important is this optics-wise, a shot in the arm to secure a new order now that the plane has been recertified?
Okay, well, if I could take the Ryanair question. Look, you know, we're not going to try to downplay. You know, we're very proud of this aircraft. I don't care whether they call it the Boeing MAX, they call it the Boeing 737-8200. We call it the game changer, what you call it. What I know is our customers are going to love flying on this plane. The plane is fantastic. The interiors are brilliant. They're going to love our prices. And, you know, our confidence in this aircraft is such. Okay, next summer we'll have maybe 25, 30 of these aircraft in operation out of a fleet of about 480 aircraft. will we be able to tell our customers weeks in advance which plane they're flying on? No. But certainly for the first 3, 4, 6 months, any customer who's getting on a MAX aircraft that doesn't want to fly in that MAX aircraft, we'll say, that's fine, no problem. You can wait and go on the next NG aircraft. We'll let people offload if you want. I don't think there'll be very many. In fact, there won't be, because this is a great aircraft. We're very confident in it. We think it's a brilliant aircraft, and we're sure our customers will share not just our enthusiasm for the aircraft, but will enjoy flying on it the way we will. So we have nothing but confidence in the aircraft, and I think our customers will share that confidence. And frankly, we don't care what you call it. We've never been overly sensitive as an airline. As long as you buy our cheap fares and fly our on-time flights, you can call us whatever you like.
Yeah, I'll just add something to that. There is no rebranding going on. There's nothing cute about the way we're sort of emphasizing the 737 family. Because the MAX is an airplane inside the 737 family. I would just echo for a moment the good captain's words. Ray described the linkage to the NG and the long, safe history of the NG, if not the safest in the world. That is what this airplane is. The changes that have occurred over the last year and a half bring it closer to that, not further away. We learned that lesson. This is a great airplane. It's a safe airplane. And for us to emphasize the 737 part of this, as opposed to just calling out the MAX every time, just don't be surprised about it. There's nothing cute going on. This is what the airplane is. And I share the confidence that Ryanair and the captain have in it.
All right, Dave, thank you. Gentlemen, thank you very much. That's the time.
And see if we can get those other couple of questions.
Yeah, I think we had some technical difficulties with some of those folks. We tried reaching out to them online. So I know our Boeing and Ryanair guests have meetings to get to, and so we'll let them get on their way. Technical difficulties aside, I know reporters will have additional questions. Please do feel free to reach out to the Boeing team, your regular contacts, or email us at media@boeing.com. You can, of course, reach out to the Ryanair team as well. Send them a note at press@ryanair.com. Again, thanks very much for joining. Have a good day.